Okay, welcome to the planning board meeting, Tuesday, March 19th at 7:02. We get a motion to open the hearing.
So motioned.
A second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, first up, discussion, 929, 931 Salem Street, project update. Do you want to do it, Annie, or you want?
I can go for it. So as you can see in your meeting packet, you have correspondence from Sam Joslin, the building commissioner. One is directly to the planning board, and one is the letter he sent to the owner of the property. Kind of running through some things, so, and what is still needed. So, since he put this memo together last Thursday, on Monday, I received response comments from the applicant's engineer, and I have sent those off to TEC. I also received their construction control affidavit for the slab that was poured. So yes, we are just waiting to hear back from TEC regarding their final comments, or their most recent comments, as well as their analysis of the construction control affidavit for the slab.
Do we have a correspondence from Sam?
It's the first thing in the meeting packet.
It's right.
Flip it over.
Right behind the agenda.
Yeah, flip the first page over.
Board have any comments?
No, well, the only question, so I'm reading through the TEC comments. It says that 1 and 3 are addressed, 2 and 4 are still waiting on calculations. Is that what you just said, that 2 and 4 already came back, but now TEC has to confirm? Okay.
Correct, yeah, so this is dated March 13th. On March 18th, I received the applicant's engineer's comments to the March 13th TEC comments, as well as their construction control affidavit for the slab. So TEC has those in hand, and they said that it will take their usual 2 weeks to review those.
Yeah. The only other thing, all these, the paperwork here, is this all posted on the website for public view? All of it, or is it just what we have here and some of it's seen, just the agendas online?
So the way most boards, besides the Board of Selectmen, function is we don't post our meeting packets online. It's all public records, so if anyone were to want them, they're more than welcome to give me a call, shoot me an email, come on in, and I provide those.
YouTube, you can read.
It's just a heavy administrative lift to constantly do that. I manage 3 other boards, and it would take a significant amount of time for me to get it online every time, which is why they are not.
Because they're large sometimes, so.
They are also very large, yeah. So I don't know if for our super big ones with like big AutoCAD plans, if I could even get them on the website.
And the only reason why I mentioned it was because something like this for 929, 931 Salem Street, that it's kind of an ongoing issue. We have a letter here from Sam giving us an update because there was a letter issued for, a stop work order that was submitted, that sometimes if the public wanted to know what was going on, if they don't have this packet, they wouldn't know unless we kind of read it out to them. And I would just wanted to know if that some things are sitting, but if they can always come in, they know now that they can come in and ask for it if they want to have more detail
Yep.
behind it.
Basically, anything that we discuss, talk about in
Is
your meeting
public.
packet, public
Yeah.
record, just
Yep.
come on in.
Yep, thank you.
So was anybody on the board while we rendered the decision for 929?
No, I was not on
Right,
plan.
so I was on the board, and I believe Rebecca was town planner at the time. There was a whole decision on, just so to bring the board up to speed, whole decision that laid out that TEC or there would be a witness, there would be an engineer to witness the structural pour. So that's a structural pour, especially the floor, to hold, I believe it's a 12,000-gallon fuel tank. Is that? It's
I
gotta
think
be
there's
either a 10 or a 12.
9,000 and a 12,000.
One or two, but it's kind of a very big, I think it's a big problem, what's going on down there. I mean, it's a total disregard to a decision.
Yeah.
So, you know, in lieu of, I know Sam's taking some action here, but, you know, I'm not the building inspector, but I do understand, you know, what needs to be done. How do we know, part of the decision also said underneath the slab, there would be a poly barrier. How do we know the poly barrier is there? How do we know exactly how the rebar was tied? The exact rebar they used? I know they're gonna do corings, but now they have to basically core a seamless floor, take holes out of it and fix it again, and maybe pour another floor on top of that. So how do you manage to pour another floor over a floor so it doesn't crack when you put the tanks down? So, you know, I don't know what you guys think.
No, I mean, I honestly, I have issues with a bunch of things about how this has gone down. I mean, honestly, I think, to your point, I think there's all kinds of questions about how this has been done and how we can know that it was done the way we wanted to. I think it's flying in the face of the board's decision. I think it's flying in the face of Sam's initial, you know, action on that site, which they disregarded and went through with it anyways, which Sam took an additional action, you know, rightly so. I think at minimum, it calls into question the oversight of the project. You know, not by us, but by the management team that's working on the project. And I think that, should be called into question. And how can we be, as a community, be satisfied that they're gonna follow the rules going forward? As far as I can see, they've
I think
almost gone above and beyond to show that they don't care for the rules and restrictions put into place.
I
about how they should do it.
disregard, a
Yeah.
whole total disregard for what we did and how much time that we spent. And, none of us are here and none of us get paid for what we do. This is like a volunteer. We spend a lot of time on this stuff. So that really rips me. But are we all right to bring these engineers in and find out what exactly they're going to do and what steps they're going to take to ensure that they're going to follow the letter of the law and make sure that everything's basically cool, what they're doing, so we don't have another issue like a valley screw? I mean, this isn't somebody, well, I throw a foundation in the woods, I'm sorry, I'll dig up the footings and I'll show you. I mean,
It's a
that's,
sensitive location.
it's
Yeah.
pretty, I think it's a pretty big deal. I really do. And
I mean, I think that Sam has done a good job of trying to be political
100%.
and giving them the opportunity. It's now happened twice. He hasn't done what he was supposed to do. So I think should be less leniency on Sam's part, but I think Sam probably already knows that. This would, I would assume, be some type of final straw. I don't know what the next level is of repercussions of it, how far it goes, and holding back things and stuff like that we've done in the past. About bringing their engineers in, though, I think as of right now, Sam's giving us the feedback, and TEC is if Sam thinks there's a concern, then I think we have to go to that route. And I think if there was a major concern from Sam, that he would express that through Annie or come be here to tell us, I hope. And I don't know if you want to talk to Sam and say, hey, Sam,
be here
how...
tonight, I don't think, right, Ed?
He couldn't be here, yeah.
So I think we still want to be kept in the loop of all the process, what's going on, TEC. They still haven't finalized the plan yet. So they pull without a final plan. Do we actually know if the location is the right location where this thing was poured, or are they in the reserve area of the septic system?
Rosemary received the plans and is going, excuse me. Rosemary received the plans and is going through them with Jim Scanlon, who was their engineer for their septic system. But I know it's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone for wetlands, so they're fine in that regard. And so the Board of Health is currently reviewing them. They just got the plans, I think, yesterday or today.
That's the other thing. I think they're in a violation of conservation as well. They never did the guardrails or anything. Did they do the guardrails on the
That was
back?
all resolved.
It was?
Yep.
All right. So I
They
hopefully just...
have their order of conditions with the conservation, or I'm sorry, their certificate of compliance with conservation. So they're done. It would have been an issue if they had been in the buffer zone, but they're not. That's confirmed.
All right, I would just say, continue to keep us in the loop. I mean, if it comes to the point where I'd like to see that engineer come in and kind of explain what they're going to do to make the remedies that they need to do, with Sam here as well. I know Sam's got it, but I'd like to hear it from myself.
Do you
I
want to
just don't
call?
feel comfortable with the decision that we rendered, you know, and the toes they're stepping on now. I mean, if it was up to me, because of the sensitivity of this, I'd say rip it out and redo it. It's not my call, I know that, but
Yeah, I mean, and Sam has been lenient. It says in this letter here, you know, the construction forms received allow the contractor to proceed at risk as multiple concrete trucks are on site, and to the cost to turn them away would be considerable. And that was offense number 2,
Right.
that he allowed them to still continue to work with TEC, knowing the TEC has to confirm the engineer's reports and things like that. It just, how far does Sam let it go? So I just don't know if you want to call Sam. I have no problem calling and saying, Sam,
Sam's been-
we've
we've been talking about it.
I can tell you that the last update Sam sent to the project team was that if there's any more infractions, that Sam will be looking into reaching out to the respective licensing authorities of the project team.
Because I think he kind of said that the last time he was here in front of us. He told us about that, so.
Yeah.
Not to mention that he's on a temporary CO. I mean, we let him open in 2020. You know, that was a conditional temporary CO.
Yeah, I mean, just about that aside, again, my concern is the work being done with flagrant disregard for what's put in place, but either by the board or by the building inspector or for the town they're doing construction in, right? They were supposed to have supervision while they were pouring it, they didn't do that. Now we're supposed to say, okay, let's presume the calculations are correct based on what you may or may not have done, because no one witnessed it. And then they decided to rip the notice off the fence, paraphrasing here, to continue what they wanted to do, irregardless of the building inspector telling them to not operate until the permits were in place, right?
Not to mention that this, you know, again, you guys weren't here. I'm sorry to take up so much time, but this was Zone 2 Aquifer, I believe, right? Zone 2? Okay, Zone 2 Aquifer. I was new on the board. These tanks were going to be placed in sand. And I remember, you can't replace, you know, I'm in the business, you can't put tanks in sand in the aquifer. And I don't, you know, they came in with a team of consultants, engineers. Basically, you have to put the tanks above ground. They came in with consultants, told us how they were gonna do it, they were gonna vault it, they were gonna have, the fire department was gonna be involved in this. They have to pull a permit from the fire department as well, which probably wasn't done. Annie, right?
They have to pull a permit with the fire
state-
marshal, but
right.
that's for the tanks, they don't permit vaults.
Okay.
So that wouldn't be until the tank, or I'm sorry,
Right,
until the vault is already built.
yeah.
But they have annual, biannual inspections, again, I'm just out of memory. So they came in with a team of consultants, said, we can put the tanks in the ground to act above ground. So if we vault them, they're still known as above ground. And for him to proceed the way he did really rips me. I mean,
Yeah, like I said, for me, beyond anything else, it calls into question the oversight of the project in the management thereof. So, I mean, that's my biggest concern. You know, DJ, to your point, I think, you know, Sam's, you know, made the call, and I trust Sam to make the right call. I would certainly hope, if anything else happens, that we pursue the fullest extent of what's possible to go after them for, because.
I agree.
Because I think 3 strikes and you're out, for lack of a better phrase. But now the burden's on them to prove to TEC that things were done right, so.
Okay. So I'd say, Annie, just make sure he was still in the loop with TEC and Sam, and, okay, that one's closed, I guess. Jason, you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, that's why we have the peer review and Sam to really crack down and still have a little bit of balance. So it's important. And I do have a lot of faith in Sam and his abilities, as well as TEC, because they are
Likewise.
the engineers.
But here's the killer, here's the thing, and there's always a thing. The peer review isn't done yet,
Yeah, I know,
you know?
as it goes.
So, all right. That's it for everybody?
Yeah, like I said, I think I trust Sam to control the situation, but, you know, hope that there's no further situation to control.
But talking about it is good for the town to know what's
Yeah,
going on as
absolutely.
well, right? That's
Yeah,
really,
I
we're here
wanna be
to
in the
protect the
loop.
town, and that's what they deserve to know what's going on, and it's not that we're sitting back and just letting people do whatever they want, we're watching it.
Billis Way, as-built acceptance roadway recommendations.
This unfortunately is not ready yet. The highway department, or I'm sorry, the highway superintendent is unable to provide a recommendation at this time because he is having issues with a manhole cover hitting a plow. He will be meeting on site with the developer tomorrow to go over how to fix this problem, and it should hopefully be done by the end of the week. This, though, poses issues as far as timing with getting it on the warrant. And so if the board would allow, I think, to try to get these folks an accepted roadway this spring, I think it would make sense, or I think the best course of action would be for the planning board to have an emergency
April 2nd.
meeting on Monday, March 25th at 6 PM, which would be right before the planning board, the Board of Selectmen meeting, which the Board of Selectmen would be making their recommendation for the warrant on this matter at. I'm getting, that sounded
Everybody okay
confusing.
with
We gotcha.
We got you.
So, yes, hopefully by Monday at 6 PM it is fixed, so it would be, I mean, that would be the only thing on the agenda. That's it.
That's
It'd be
fine.
5
There
minutes.
can't be any stipulations of,
There's another
approving
developer
an as-built with stipulations of this resetting a manhole cover is not difficult work. It's very simple. It's a half-day job, not even.
I know, yeah. I'm not sure if we're able to make recommendations on warrants contingent
I
upon
don't think we
other
are. I
things.
think we have to vote on it, and we
I-
have to say favorable and
Right.
allow the selectmen
Yeah,
to.
it has to be favorable or unfavorable. You can't make warrant recommendations
Right.
contingent upon
It would just-
things.
I can do 6 PM on the 25th.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
it too. It just seems really silly to postpone
Well-
and miss
Yeah.
overall when we're coming out of winter and the plows won't even be used for another.
And, I would hate for the residents to miss out on.
Yeah,
the-
absolutely.
The
A
town
whole nother
services
year.
they deserve
Me
here.
too.
Yes, but the hard part is, he's already attempted to repair it once and failed at it.
And again, here's another developer that.
I need a supervisor I
It
can help out. I used to do it.
should have been done years ago,
Yeah,
So here's another case of a
Yeah.
right.
developer gone
Yeah,
rogue.
I know.
That being said, that is the only remaining item. Water and sewer has signed off. That's in your meeting packet. Light
How did
department
Rennie
signed
find
off.
that out?
Rennie took a truck, put a plow on it last
gonna say
week,
chipped his
and
plow.
ran it up and down the street.
Dry?
Yeah, to make sure that there wouldn't be an issue moving forward, because obviously
Wow,
there's no
all right.
snow on the ground to test it, so he wanted to make sure that they had this issue at another development of this developer. So
Okay.
he was.
Oh,
He had
that
he
would-
prior knowledge to
knew
test
what
it
to
out.
look out for, so.
Yeah.
And if you hit a manhole cover, that'll dry your mother's
It
preserves,
does,
I'm
yes.
sure.
Definitely gives you a little, it'll wake you up, that's for sure, when you're dozing off
You
as
don't
a
want, you don't want
plow
problems with
driver.
manhole covers down the road, because
No, yes, as you know, on Hillview Drive.
Town meeting update.
Yes. So also in your meeting packet, so as the board is, I'm assuming aware, right now, the way our election or our term schedule works is we have 3 members who are up for 5-year terms at once. It's supposed to be staggered every 5-year, or every year a new person is up for a 5-year term. So this warrant article that is put together in your meeting packet would remedy this. So everyone who currently is in a 5-year term, who's on the same schedule, so that's DJ, Chris, and Wally, would serve out the remainder of their term until 2028. And then their seat would change from being a 5-year term to being either a
3, 4, 5.
yeah, it would fix
Yeah.
it, to put it mild, to put it easily, because I had to read this like 5 times to understand it. So all we need to do is essentially choose which people's seats will end up getting changed. I just didn't want to make that decision, and neither did the town clerk. I feel like I don't want to put someone's name on here, so.
So it's Chris?
So it's either Chris, Chris's seat, DJ's seat, or Wally's seat. They would serve out the remainder of their 5-year term, no problem. It's just when that term expires, one seat will go to a 5-year term, which it's supposed to be. One will go to like a 2-year term, and one will turn into a 3-year term. And then the cycle will have fixed itself, so that every year someone is up for a new 5-year position.
You guys pick right now.
So,
and
so,
then
so,
Wally-
so the next election will be a temporary time period, and then each will revert back to the 5-year after that.
Yes.
Yes.
What he said.
Yeah, what he said. So it really doesn't have any implications now. It's just that if you choose to stay in your seat for multiple years, the next time you're up for reelection, you'll just have to get papers signed sooner than 5 years. So
Rock, paper, scissors?
So this is 4 years from now? We have to worry about this?
you, in.
But we need to
yes,
decide now.
In 4 years, you,
We have to decide now who's going to be
Yes,
2,
you-
who's 3?
yes. So in
2, 3, and 4. How was that?
2, 3, 5, or whatever it is.
2, 3,
Okay.
5.
Does it matter? Do you guys care?
I don't care.
I don't care.
It
Thank you,
doesn't
though.
really affect you much in this moment.
Doesn't
It's-
affect you at all.
Yeah.
No, correct.
Okay.
Exactly. I don't, so.
Do you, okay, so Chris and DJ, easy.
2, 3, 5, is that okay?
Sure.
Again, and it gets us back on schedule.
I think it makes it easy to make him two, just kidding.
Yeah, but the absentee too.
Right?
Perfect.
Absentee gets two.
He's been on the board for 30 years. You're gonna mess with
27
him?
years.
Oh, you're gonna mess with him like that?
He's got the 3,
What-
4, 5 tattooed.
I would
on
not
his
do that
arm.
to Wally.
Are we good for that?
I'm- I'm good with
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Do we
you.
have to vote on that, or?
No,
Okay.
But Wally, next time he misses it, he's getting the two.
He owes us.
Anything else? Or you want to just jump to other items not reasonably anticipated at this time, and
to town meeting update, the town council has reviewed our zoning bylaw for battery storage and didn't have any comments. But then there's just meeting minutes. Do you want me to go to my planner update and other items, or do you want to do meeting
sure.
minutes?
No, we'll do the update.
Okay. At our next meeting, well, not our next meeting, which will be on March 25th, but our next regularly scheduled meeting on April 2nd, the board will be having a public hearing on 6-8 Elm Park for a special permit for a parking reduction. This is that Mexican restaurant there. I've already received comments back from the various boards' departments. I've already sent those off to the applicant to prepare themselves. And I will also, in your meeting packet for that next meeting, have the parking study that had been done at Elm Park in there too for you guys to review. So,
There was a big study done in Elm Park, and I think you'd be surprised on what they found for parking spaces. Did you read it, Annie?
I did when I first stepped into my planner role, but I haven't refreshed my memory on it. But I know
108
that,
spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot more
I'm of the
spots.
opinion that we have tons of spots down there, and it's not a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially in that
So,
municipal lot by the
Yeah.
water department.
Yeah. That's my official stance. We do not have a parking problem in Elm Square. Everyone, please take notice.
so there's that. And then for other items not reasonably anticipated, on your tables, you have a letter from Angus Jennings. He's on the Economic Development Committee. The letter, I'll let you read it, but basically, to boil it down, he wanted to see what the board thought about changing our bylaw to allow for recreational marijuana growing, not retail, just growing. And if the board is interested, I can coordinate with him to draft something up for our next town meeting. It's too late for this town meeting, just given the noticing requirements that are required for zoning articles, but definitely something we can tackle early on to be ready for next year. So,
Yes, that's something we can take up later.
yeah, it's too late right now for this year, but if it's something the board would be interested in, I can coordinate with Angus.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
it hurts to look at it.
So I'm on the Economic Development Committee as well.
Likewise.
And this was discussed, and this was brought up in conversation based upon trying to bring growth to our economy into Groveland. And, as most know, that the cannabis retail revenue is one of the highest tax revenues there are throughout the state. So that was just something we threw out there, and we looked into the bylaws, noticing that it was for medical use only. So it was, say, let's see what it could take and if it would be reviewed. Now that, when it was voted on years ago, prior to me being around, the cannabis, the entire system was new. It was kind
The
of, wasn't really,
industry, yeah.
yeah, the industry was new. Now it's everywhere. There's buildings everywhere, there's retail everywhere. So something kind of maybe revisit now that it's a little more mainstream and,
Well, I think more importantly, there's more understanding of it, the industry now as well. I think as a whole, I think when it first came out, it was still relatively new. So there was a lot of, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but lack of understanding all around of
Right,
what it,
yeah.
what it really meant to have,
Right.
you know, the industry in
security.
town.
And,
Right.
yeah,
When we do it, I think we'd bring in the chief to see what they have on data,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
yep. Yeah, a couple surrounding towns that have it
Mhm.
as well, I believe.
Maine
Yeah.
has it at every corner.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's that?
You go through Maine, it's at every corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I think
George-
I'd welcome a discussion on it, though.
Yep.
Hey, Georgetown has
discuss it.
one, Haverhill has one.
Well, I think the biggest thing here was this bylaw doesn't talk about the retail. It
Right.
doesn't add the retail aspect,
Mhm.
it's just growing.
Right.
I passed that one, was it in, is it Amesbury, Salisbury, Root Bloom?
I lose track. I see some everywhere.
I think Georgetown has one too,
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgetown
Yeah,
has.
Georgetown, right on,
yeah.
right on Main Street.
by Mirror.
Yeah.
All right, so that one we'll take up with discussion. Anything else, Annie?
Nope, that was it.
Get through minutes.
Our next meeting is April 20.
We got minute.
Minutes.
2nd, 2024.
Make a,
Minutes.
Oh, yeah.
make a motion to accept the minutes from October 30th, 2023, and the November 28th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
next meeting, April 2nd, 2024.
Regular meeting the 22nd, regular meeting the 2nd, special meeting on the
Special meeting.
26th,
25th?
Fifth.
5th.
Fifth.
Monday.
Monday. No, yes.
All right,
I'm looking at
motion to
that.
adjourn, 7:30.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night, everybody.
Night.